Hey everybody, Real Estate Ninja here. I just did a story on my other channel, Economic Ninja, about credit card debt, but this is a different story. And this is wild to think about these metrics, numbers, time frames about credit card debt and what's happening in our country. Just absolutely blows my mind. And remember, this 100% has to do with the real estate market, because the higher the credit card debt for the average consumer, the less available credit they have to go and purchase a home, especially at these higher rates and higher prices, right? Not only that, that's less straight up income they have. You know, the bank seems to stretch things. In boom times, they're like, how much can you afford? Or, you know, here, how much do you make? And you tell them and they go, oh, cool, you can buy a house that's, you know, $1 million. You're like, that payment would take up like 2/3 of my income. I can't make that. When you're like thinking logically and you're trying to be, you know, cautious and responsible, the bank goes, oh, no problem, you could do it. Well, even then, you literally have less money, because either you're paying the minimum payments on your credit card, and that's what the bank's looking at. They're just going to keep paying the minimum payments. Or you're actually trying to chip away and get that credit card debt paid off, because it's an anchor, right? Tied around your neck. So here's a story, and again, the time zones, the dates are so important. It's entitled, it's out of Market Watch, it's entitled, Credit Card Debt Failed to Decline in First Quarter. For the first time in over 20 years, and this comes out of the New York Fed. So this is very important. This makes it worse than what we saw in 2007, 2008. It says, U.S. credit card debt appears to be stubbornly holding near $1 trillion. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York said in its quarterly report on household debt and credit Monday. So remember, this is the exact, they're even putting this right along this headline of credit card debt into the housing debt report. In the fourth quarter, when credit card debt tends to rise due to holiday shopping, credit card balances hit a whopping $986 billion, surpassing the pre-pandemic levels, the New York Fed said in a previous report. In the first quarter, however, is unusually marked by falling credit card debt as consumers pay that off. Now, stop right there and think about this. First off, stop, and this isn't the Economic Ninja channel. This is the Real Estate Ninja. If you haven't subscribed here, please hit the subscribe button, and let's take you on a journey, totally different videos every week. But let's talk about that first quarter. You want to know why? It's the mentality of the consumer. They just came off of a massive spending binge in Christmas. They buy up things on their credit card, they're racking up credit card points, they're all excited, and then a lot of them pay them off, right? I myself have used credit cards my entire life, and since I've been married about 23, 24 years, we have always paid the balance off every single month, except for 1 month where I messed up. I talk about that in the last video on the Economic Ninja channel. And it just shocked me how much the interest rate was. Point being is that is why the first quarter you see credit cards balance shrink. They don't want to tell you that on the news, but that is actually the reason why. So a lot of people, prudent people using their credit cards, getting their points, spend it in the holiday season, then around Christmas, and then they go to pay it off. On top of that, you have a second phenomenon that happens, a lot of New Year's resolutions. You know, it's not just losing weight and stop putting down that ice cream. It's what I should do. But my point being is that a lot of people go, you know what? I'm going to get my debt paid off. And they really strive in the first quarter of the year to pay down their debt, and then they start, you know, slacking up, and then they get in the same issue. But my point being is that's why we see that contraction. But for the first time in 20 years, we have not seen this, and this is very, very, very important. I think that it's telling of how serious this is. Remember, I keep saying this. I've been saying this since the first day that I started this channel 3 years ago, that this crash will be way worse than the Great Recession, and it already is. From the banking collapse has now already surpassed it in dollar amount, to the amount of debt based on what we're at now at all-time highs as compared to back then. And then all these other factors. That means there's going to be so many opportunities for you when this real estate market collapses. Guys, if you want to start preparing now and you want to start getting ready for it, getting organized, organize your thoughts, start putting plans into motion. There are things that you could do right now to get ready for this housing crash. Check out the course below. It's so darn easy. I'll put a 70% off link, but it's so easy to be prepared for this. I went through this back in 2005, 2006 when I was liquidating all my homes because I knew the market was crashing. And it wasn't for a couple years after that that we saw the full-blown aftermath, all right? So you have time to get ready, but the more prepared you are, the better you are. So you got to start preparing now. So let's dive back into this story. It says, again, in the fourth quarter, when credit card debt tends to rise due to holiday shopping, balances hit a whopping 86 billion, surpassing pre-pandemic levels. The New York Fed said in a previous report, but the first quarter, however, is usually marked by the falling credit card debt as consumers pay that off. But that wasn't the case in 2023. Credit card balances held firm at $986 billion, the New York Fed said on Monday. It was the first time levels of credit card debt had failed to fall between the fourth and first quarters in more than 20 years, the New York Fed researchers said. And the reason why is because, think about this, people are so squeezed right now. Inflation is just changing everything. I hear it at the job where I hear guys talking about how expensive energy is getting, their natural gas, their electrical bill, their food bills. It's so much that they can't just pay down that debt. It's very, very dire, actually. It says here, at the same time, credit card interest rates are also on the rise, according to bank rate data. The average credit card interest rate is currently at a record high of 20.33%. That is a record high, okay? That's worse than we saw in the early 80s after the late 70s inflation. This is, and really, credit cards were really booming in the early 80s. Why? People didn't have money. But we're even higher than that. So we're blowing away 2008. We're blowing away early 80s, late 70s. This is going to be bad. Interest rates, it says, can also vary by consumers' credit scores, skewing higher for borrowers who are considered more risky. Young adults in communities of color are more likely to be in debt compared to their counterparts in majority white communities and more likely to have lower credit scores. Look, I don't care what your race is, what your sex is. What I care about is good human beings, part of this group. And we have all races, we have both genders here on this channel. It is my prayer for you to get out of this debt. Get the noose off of your neck and start living life and crushing it. You are going to miss, if you do not do this and pay this debt off, you are going to miss the most amazing opportunity of your life. And I do not want that for you. I want good people to have the wealth of this country. Now it says here, still on the whole, total U.S. Household debt balances were up by $148 billion in the first quarter to reach $17.05 trillion. The researchers said from the Fed, a slightly more muted increase compared to previous quarters, considering last year's fourth and third quarters saw total debt levels rise by $394 billion and $351 billion, respectively. One factor driving more modest rises in debt levels, the first quarter had the lowest level of mortgage originations, including refinances. See, we're getting ready for this crash. Since 2014, reaching a level of $324 billion. In a blog post Monday, New York Fed researchers noted that a pandemic boom in refinancing supported by lower interest rates and stronger household balance sheets appeared to be over, though the 14 million mortgages refinanced earlier in the pandemic will, quote unquote, have effects on the mortgage market for years to come. And that is so true. Guys, you are literally going to have the most amazing opportunity to grow generational wealth that you've ever had, but you have to be ready. If you claim bankruptcy, you're out of the game. Your credit score is done, they're not going to loan to you. You're going to miss out. Do not do that. Let's get this credit card debt chipped away. Guys, if you haven't subscribed here, check it out. If you haven't seen the crash course and you want 70% off, I think it's $299 with the code. Check it out. Start preparing now, and I can guarantee you, you will save way more than $300 on your first house when you start getting all this information inside of you. All right, with that being said, the Real Estate Ninja is out.